Alright, so I'm checking out a deal from a student named James who sent in the deal. Here's his deal submission form. Okay, so this one took me a little bit longer to go through than most. Part of that's because James didn't send in all of the necessary paperwork, so please, again, don't waste my time by not sending in the very specific paperwork that we need. Okay, here are the specifics on this deal. The asking price is $375,000. James thinks that it can then be sold for $610,000. He's estimating repairs to be $100,000 to $125,000. However, he did not tell me what that's based on. Is that just him walking through the house? Where are the contractor estimates? This house is just sitting on the market. Here it is. It's a cute little house. But before you send me an estimation on repair cost, please send me your contractor bids. When you're walking the property, have a contractor or two or three go through the property and give you some bids, and then send those to me. Don't just tell me it needs $100,000, $125,000. Based on what? Based on your opinion? Well, we're playing with $500,000, $1.5 million. We're not just guessing here, okay? These aren't little bitty $100,000 properties where we can guess, oh, this needs $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, and if you're off by a little bit, it's not that big a deal. This is a big deal. So always send in your contractor estimations. Okay. James goes on to say that even though they're asking $375,000, he thinks he can get it for $325,000. That's a 14% price decrease. And I looked at the pictures online, and it does need a lot of work. However, I think it needs more work than what James is estimating here, and I'll get to that in just a second. I even spoke to the agent, Patrick, on this property. I called the agent and spoke to him myself. This deal is in New York, and I'm not that familiar with this area of New York. Okay, so we've got James's paperwork here. They're asking $375,000. He's guessing he can get it for $325,000. He doesn't know yet, but he's guessing. So he can probably get it somewhere between $325,000 and $375,000, and then he says it's going to be worth $610,000. Okay, so that's all fine and good. Now let's look at the subject property itself. I pull it up, and it's got a lot size of 5,000 square feet, pretty typical in that neighborhood. Here is the big gotcha with this house. There's a couple. One, it was built in 1924, so it's an older house, and you always run into problems with older houses. It's better to guess high, estimate high on the repairs than it is low, because you never know what you're going to find on a 100-year-old house. But here's the thing. Every single, here we go. James sent in 4 comps. Every single comp that James sent in, and they were decent comps in the neighborhood. At least they were within a quarter square mile. They were pretty close to the subject property. However, every single one of the comps that he sent in they are in the $600,000 range, low sixes. But the ones that have sold have been 3-bedroom, 2.5, or 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or 4-bedroom, 2-bath, or 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Our subject property is a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. So the comps are already off. So this house is 100 years old, and it only has 1 full bath and 1 half bath. And I looked up the median income in this area. The median income is about $190,000. So people make some good money in this area. No one who makes $190,000 is going to want a 1.5 bath property. So what does that mean? It's not a deal killer. It just means we're going to have to add a bathroom. We need to make this either a 3-2 and take the half bath from a half to a full, or we add an entirely new bathroom and make it a 3 2.5, because all of the comps are either 3 2s or 3 2.5s. Okay? In order to get that 600 and change, low sixes, you're going to have a second bathroom, period. So that is red flag number 1 that went up for me. Red flag number 2, it's 100 years old, which isn't that big of a deal. But when you combine that it's 100 years old, plus James is guesstimating that the repairs are 100 and 125,000, and I even called the agent Patrick, and he said, I think it needs about $100,000 worth of work. I looked at the pictures online. Where are you guys getting this? Has a contractor walked this property? We can't do any wild ass guesses here. We're playing with real money, $500,000. I've got to go to my people and ask for $500,000, James, and you guys are throwing out these swags, these silly wild ass guesses on how much it's going to cost to fix this property up. And you need to add a bath. I think this property needs at least 100 without adding the bath. So I think this is going to kick out. I think we're going to go from 125 up to easily 150, maybe a little bit more, okay? So don't send me stuff with silly wild ass guesses. On a property that needs $100,000 worth of repairs, get a contractor in there so that you're not wasting my time, okay? You should have taken a contractor with you, James, when you went to the property. You sent me the pictures. Why wasn't your contractor there, and where is his estimate? Okay, next, let's get to the comps. All right, as I said, all of the comps are 3 bedroom, 2 bath, or a couple of them are 4 bedroom, 2 bath. So let's get to them. First comp is very close to the subject property. It's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, same size lot, 5,000 square feet. Here's the next red flag. How many times have you heard me say in the training, we only work in the hottest zip codes? Now, I called the agent, Patrick, and he said, this is a hot zip code. This is a great area. Everybody wants to live here. And I said to Patrick, I said, really? Because I'm looking at a comp right around the corner from it. It took 4 months to sell. That's not a hot zip code. Yeah, it sold, but it took 4 months to sell. When we're doing 6-figure flips, we want it sold the day we put it back on the market. We want a bidding war. So, not only did this comp, which isn't a true comp because it has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, not 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath, and it's a little bit bigger property, obviously. It took 4 months to sell, and it took a 5% decrease in price. The original asking price was $629,000, and it sold for $600,000, and it took 4 months to do it. Okay, and I was wrong. It's a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, and our subject property is a 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath. So, what does this tell me? We're not dealing in a hot neighborhood. Patrick, the agent, now don't forget, agents will tell you blah, 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 blah. This is a hot area. This is why we look at the numbers and the data. The data doesn't lie. Patrick lied to me, the agent. Don't lie to me and tell me we're in a hot area when this house took a 5% price decrease. It went from $629, they sold it for $600, and it took 4 months to do it. That's not the definition of hot. That's the definition of lukewarm at best. Okay? Now when you start talking about having private money tied up into this deal, we're talking about $125,000 to $150,000 rehab. That's going to take a couple months. Then you add another 4 months to sell the property. Now you're looking at private money, paying the juice on private money at 12% interest only for half a year. Half a year. I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait half a year to get paid. Do you? So come on, James. And I'll say this about James. James, you sent in some emails and you've been a little arrogant, and you are a real estate investor, and I've been to your website. Not only will this have been the most expensive house you've ever sold, But why haven't you run, if you're a real estate agent, or I'm sorry, real estate investor, why didn't you do these numbers yourself? Don't tell me it's a hot market when it takes 4 months to sell. That's comp number one. Okay, comp number two is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Again, ours is a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. Here's some red flags with comp number two. Comp number two has a 9,000 square foot lot. Ours is 5,000. So the lot is almost twice as big as our lot. Red flag number three, this house, which has more bathrooms than ours, originally listed at $629, same price as the last comp, but guess what? They sold it at $605. That's a 4% price decrease. And this one sold a little bit faster, but it took 1 month to sell it. Okay, but still, now we're talking about having our money tied up for 5 months. But when you start seeing these price decreases, they threw it out there at $629 and they got $605. That's not a hot zip code. Okay, it sold, but it didn't sell the day we threw it out there, like our 6-figure flips do. Okay, so there's some red flags with comp number two. Comp number three, let's check this out. James, I'm gonna lay into you a little bit more, and everyone else, I want you to pay attention. Comp number three, again, it's comparable in that it has a 5,000 square foot lot, same lot size. However, this particular comp is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. So now we're talking about an entirely another bedroom, okay? And not only that, James, this isn't even a sold comp. This is a new listing that has been on the market for 1 month at $629. $629,000 seems to be, the agents love that number in this particular area in New York on Long Island. It's not a sold comp. It's a 4-bedroom, it's not a 3-bedroom. It has more rooms, it's a bigger house, and they're asking $629. Guess what they're probably going to get? They're probably going to get $605 like the other two. But it's not even a sold comp, James. Come on. You're a real estate agent. I've been to your website. I've seen your listings. You should know better than this. And for the rest of you who aren't seasoned real estate investors, I am being a little tough on James because, like I said, one, he's been a little cocky and arrogant and rude with my staff. And so I'm going to be a little arrogant with him back. But if you aren't a seasoned real estate investor, these are the things you need to be looking at. When you start seeing 4 months on the market and price decreases, you clearly missed the step, James, in the training where I said we only deal in the top 2 or 3 hottest zip codes in our area based on number of sales. So you missed that part. Okay, comp number 4. Here we go. Comp number 4 is a comp that was built in 1991. I'm sorry about I'm outside in our beautiful backyard and apparently someone's having their yard done. This house is brand new. Our house was built in 1924. Why are you sending me a comp that was built in 1991? We're not even in the same universe now, James. And here's what's even more interesting about this house that was built in 1991. And it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Again, ours is a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. I keep saying it over and over again because 1, James, you should know better. And 2, those of you who are sending me deals, these are the things I want you to pay attention to when you're sending these deal submissions in. Here's the next red flag on this, James. It was built in 1991. And it was taken off the market after 4 months of not selling. It's not even a sold comp, James. Come on, man. You're a real estate investor. Why did you waste my time making me look at 2 non-sold comps, one of which was taken off the market after it hadn't even sold for 4 months? Okay, I'll get off James's case about the comps. They're horrible comps, basically. Now let's get into the numbers. So here's what the numbers look like. Let's just say that James hadn't sent me crappy comps. And let's just say that James was right about his numbers. Here's how the numbers would play out. And I'm only doing this for those of you who don't know how to do these numbers. Let's say that James is right. Let's say that he can get this house that's listed for $375,000. Let's say he can get it for $325,000. All right, so let's do the math on that. He gets it for $325,000 using my money. Then I'm going to go on the high side. He says it's going to take 100 to 125, with having to add an extra bathroom, it's going to be 150, maybe more. But let's go with James's numbers. 325 plus 125, that's $450,000. So James wants me to go to my private investor and ask for $450,000. Okay. So I do that. Then James says that we are going to sell this property for $610,000. Okay, well, I don't know, why wouldn't we just throw it out there at 629 like all the other comps? But let's go with 610. Well, every single one of the sold comps that James sent me took a 4 to 5% price hit. So I'm going to build in a 5% price hit. So even though we put it out on the market at $610,000, James, we're probably going to get offers in the $579,000 range. So if you take 5% off of $610,000, you come up with $579,000. Actually, $579,500. Now, we're in it for $450 at this point, and we're probably going to get an offer around $580. Now, what you have to do is you have to include your agent selling fees, which are going to be 6%, and then there are going to be other closing fees. So I typically just round it to 10%, okay? So 90% of $579,500 is going to leave us with $521,450. Okay, so if you subtract what we'll walk from closing with, which would be $521,500, from the $450,000 we have in it, which I think is going to be low, we're left with $71,550. Okay, that's assuming that the repairs don't go over budget like I think they will. There's some money there if James can get it for $325. If, that's a big if. There's some money there, $71,000. However, then I have to give James $30,000 for bringing me the deal, which leaves me $41,000. Okay. Well, first of all, if, and that's a big if, all of James's numbers are right, and he hasn't proven to me that they're right because he hasn't had a contractor go through it. First of all, our best case scenario is walking with $71,000. Again, not horrible, but this course is called six-figure flips, not $71,550 flips. Okay. Then on top of that, I'm going to pay James $30,000 and I'm going to make $40,000. I'm going to take all the risk and I'm going to make $40,000 and he's going to make $30,000. Okay, so I make a little bit more than him, but still I think those numbers are wrong. What I think is going to happen is that the cost is going to, the cost of the repairs is going to be closer to $150,000. And I think there's really only going to be about $30,000 to $40,000 in this deal when it's all said and done. So James, this is a deal. There's no doubt about it. I've been busting your chops a little bit because you busted my chops and you busted my my staff's chops, so I'm busting your chops in return. And if anybody, when you guys start busting our chops, I'm going to get tough with you. That's why I'm making a video. I'm putting this in the training center, James. I'm not going to say your last name, but I'm going to send this to you personally, James, because I'm talking to you. You busted my chops, I'm busting your chops. You're from New York, you can take it. You're a big boy. I think there's probably only $30,000, maybe $40,000 in this deal. That's a deal, no doubt about it. Maybe you could get it up to 60, 70 on the high side, but that's not a six-figure flip. Okay, so you sent me a deal that is not a six-figure flip. and I wasted about 20 minutes of my life. Now I've probably been talking for another 10 minutes, about half an hour of my life doing this research, even called the agent on the phone to get this information. So James, if you want to do this deal, there is money there. This is a deal, but it is not a six-figure flips deal. What you're going to have to do if you want to do this deal is you're going to have to go get your own private money, which I hope you have some private investors, or hard money, and do the deal and make the 40, 50, maybe you make $60,000 on the deal. But it's not a $100,000 deal that you and I can split. So again, James, I busted your chops a little more than I probably should have, but like I said, you were a little rude and arrogant as well in your all of your communication with my staff. So what comes around goes around. Not bad for a first deal that you sent me. Go find us another one that is an actual six-figure flip. Run all the numbers properly. Again, I'm busting your chops because you're supposed to be a seasoned real estate investor, but I can tell you're a seasoned real estate investor who's used to making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, not $100,000 plus. You got to do your homework. Don't send me in anything that says I'm guessing that the repairs are $100,000 and $125,000 based on Patrick, the real estate agent, saying that he thinks it's based on $100,000 and $125,000. When you go walk these properties, you take a contractor with you and you get a couple bids and send me those, and then we'll be talking actual numbers and we can compare apples to apples. So that's it, guys. Do all of your homework before you send me these deals so that I don't have to waste time. Okay, this is a deal, James. Congratulations. I hope you get this deal. Go do it. Go make your 40, 50, maybe $60,000 on the high side. Go do that. But it's not something that we can do together because it's not a six-figure flip. Okay, you guys get out there, run your comps, run your numbers, know your data. And the other thing, the last thing, James, is this isn't a hot market. This is not when they sit on the market for 4 months, that's not a hot market. So stick with the top 3 hottest zip codes in your area. All right, guys, get out there and find us some six-figure flips deals. I'll talk to you soon.